mounting tensions, intense battles erupted when the Turkish military launched a cross-border offensive inside Syria's northwestern Idlib region. Turkish artillery provided cover fire for a coordinated blitz by jihadist militants in efforts to conquer, among other strategic locations, the town of Nayrab, which was recently captured by Syrian regime forces. According to local sources, Turkish commando units supported the ground operation.
إن شاء الله اليوم تم تجهيز الأخوي باتجاه العمل التحامي في محاور العمل. إن شاء الله نحن والأخوي الأتراك مشاركين في موضوع العمل بإذن الله. وهلا بدأت القوات بالدخول إلى محاور العمل. وإن شاء الله راح نحاول استرجاع كافة المناطق اللي تم احتلالها مؤخرا من ميليشيات الأسد والاحتلال الروسي بإذن الله إن شاء الله.
While the Syrian army, fighting alongside Iranian-backed militants, failed to withstand the Turkish-led offensive in two areas of Idlib province, Russian fighter jets conducted heavy bombardments against the advancing jihadists, which then allowed the Syrian army to mount a counterattack, immediately regaining the lost territories. In tandem with the Turkish ground offensive, which Ankara diplomats termed as limited, Turkey launched a wide-scale bombardment of Syrian army positions in the area of Idlib City. According to the Turkish Defense Ministry, more than 50 Syrian soldiers had been killed in the bombardment, which they underscored came in retaliation for airstrikes that had killed 2 Turkish soldiers and wounded 5 others. It remains unclear whether the deadly airstrike was executed by either Russia or Syria. In contrast to the Turkish statement, however, the Russian Defense Ministry insisted that the Turkish artillery shelling merely wounded 4 Syrian soldiers. It is important to mention that the Turkish-led offensive is still ongoing. It is indeed a so-called limited cross-border incursion, which, according to intelligence officials who briefed TV7 on the goal of the operation, aims to prepare for Turkey's wide-scale offensive against the Syrian army if the latter would obstinately persist in defying demands stated by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who threatened to unleash a military operation against the forces of Damascus unless they pulled back from the northwestern Idlib province by the end of February. In light with Erdogan's clear objectives, the Turkish army mounted the limited operation, together with Ankara-backed militias, to recapture the town of Nayrab and the strategic M4 highway, which would consequently relieve the reported encirclement of 5 Turkish military observation posts that are situated on the outskirts of the town of Sarakib. In spite of the Turkish-led offensive, Ankara's top diplomat Mevlut Çavuşoğlu revealed on Turkey's English-language network TRT World that some progress was made in the meetings between Russian and Turkish negotiators.
Toplantılarda biraz daha yaklaşım oldu ama henüz tam istediğimiz noktada değiliz. Tekrar görüşmeye devam edip belki liderlerimiz daha önce telefonda, Cumhurbaşkanımız da Putin telefonda mutabık kalmışlardı. İhtiyacı olursa belki bir liderler düzeyinde de toplantı olabilir ama.
Turning to Washington, where Pentagon spokesman Jonathan Hoffman highlighted in a press briefing that the U.S. policy vis-à-vis Syria has not changed, laying the blame on the Damascus regime of President Bashar al-Assad for the latest escalation. Hoffman further pointed to the fact that the latest developments in Syria's Idlib region have brought about increased prospects of a more extensive conflict between Russia and Turkey.
Our stance in Syria has not changed, and that is that there needs to be a political settlement in Syria that will be for the best interest of the Syrian people. We've seen Assad continue to attack his own people. We're seeing that expand into Idlib. We're seeing the Russians and the Turks have come very close to having a more extensive conflict in the area.
Separately, it has also been revealed that Turkey had informed NATO of its planned offensive and has requested for the alliance to enforce a no-fly zone over the region ahead of its attack. Turning now to Israel, where a cessation of terror-related activities from the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip has come to an end today when several clusters of balloons rigged with explosives were located in a densely populated neighborhood in the southern Israeli city of Ashkelon. The Israel police spokesperson's unit confirmed in a statement that sappers were dispatched to the several locations in the city to deal with a number of explosive devices. Thankfully, no injuries or damage were reported. In its statement, the police called on local residents and visitors to remain alert for suspicious objects. It further called upon the public to immediately call Israel's emergency number 100 in the event that a suspicious object is detected and to remain at a safe distance. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, a female Islamist attempted to stab a pedestrian in the city's popular Armon HaNatziv promenade, which overlooks the Old City of David. According to a police statement, an Israeli citizen who noticed the attempted attack immediately overpowered the assailant before police arrived at the scene and arrested the suspect. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Turning now to Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport, where 11 Israelis who were passengers on a coronavirus-hit cruise liner off of Japan, called the Diamond Princess, arrived in Israel early this morning, where they were immediately transferred to an isolated ward that was erected for them at the Sheba Medical Center in Tel HaShomer.
Around 4 a.m., the private aircraft with the 11 Israeli tourists came from Japan to Israel. He landed in Ben Gurion Airport. They were landed in the end of the runway, so you won't be able to touch anything. For now, they're healthy. We spoke with them. Have no fever, any other symptoms. They took off the plane and went straight to a MDA bus.
Unfortunately, in spite of the fact that initially all of them appeared healthy, the Israeli Health Ministry confirmed that following a thorough examination, one of the passengers was tested positive for coronavirus. The passenger, who was classified as an adult woman, is the first such case in the Jewish state.